Do you have lots of cool ideas that look amazing in your head, but when you start to build, it all just goes, well, yeah. Do you want to up your build game and never have to look up a house tutorial again? Then let me welcome you to Biguetti Building Fundamentals. In this series, we're going to go over many different skills that are important steps in making nice looking Minecraft builds, such as shape, palette and texture, interior, landscapes, and more. Even if you don't have cool build ideas now, they say creativity's a habit, so why not start that habit today with part 1 of our series, Shape. The outline of any build is firstly composed of many shapes, and shapes play a major role in how your build will look. Learning how to build and connect multiple basic shapes is the key to making interesting designs. As we know, Minecraft is a game that takes place in a 3D world. The great thing about 3D shapes is that they can be broken down into 2D shapes. Take a look at this. This cube is made up of 6 squares, and this sphere is made up of a bunch of circles, and this pyramid has triangles. Once we master making 2D shapes in Minecraft, we can put multiple together to make 3D shapes. Here you can see the 2D shapes I've outlined in this windmill. I'm going to skip cubes and rectangular prisms as most of us already understand how to build these. I mean, it's Minecraft. Come on, everything's square. What I'm going to focus on is angles and circles. For angles, we can build straight up and straight out for a 90-degree angle. And we know we can go out one and up one and repeat this to make a 45-degree angle. This angle has a rise of 1 and a run of 1, making this a 1/1 slope. We can change that slope to be steeper, 2/1, or milder, 1/3, and so on. The longer we go without moving over, the steeper the angle will be. If you have a start point and an end point, you can also use the larger number to find out how many blocks we need to go before moving over one. In this case, my rise is higher than my run, so I'll divide the rise, 20, by the run, 10, and come out with 2. That means I need to go up 2 blocks for every 1 block over. Let's talk about circles now. Plots.co.uk has some great shape generators. The ellipse, sphere, and ellipsoid generators are the ones we want to focus on. All you have to do is pick a shape, input the size you want, and it will instantly show you a model of your shape. If you're building a sphere or ellipsoid, you can use the slider on the right-hand side to see the layout for each individual level to make construction nice and easy for you. It's definitely worth checking out their website if you want to get your round builds looking proper. Now that we have a circle, we can combine it with a square to make a cylinder, a triangle to make a cone, or more circles to make a sphere. You see how we can play around and combine different 2D shapes to make all sorts of 3D shapes? These 2D shapes will make up the framework of your build. But before we start framing, we need to make a few decisions. Firstly, are we going to build an odd center or an even center? If the build's dimensions are an even number, for example 20 blocks, the middle will be in between the 10th and 11th block. This creates a wider effect, with our center line being right in the middle between the 2 blocks. If we choose an odd number, say 19, our middle will fall on the 10th block, as there are 9 blocks on either side. Odd number centers will let us use a block as our middle line, instead of a space in between blocks. In my opinion, odd number centers look nicer than even, but it's up to you to decide on which one's right for your build. The next question we need to ask relates to size. How big will our build be? The bigger we make it, the more detail we can put in. However, bigger builds require more material, and certainly more time. Well, it's time to build the framework, and here's a little tip for you. When you're building framework in survival, use dirt. It's cheap and easy to break, makes it a perfect sketching material. Similar to a way an artist sketches his shapes before he draws, the dirt frame's purpose is to get an idea of how the shapes fit together and to get a feel for the overall size and proportions. Adjust your dirt frames until your shapes look good. Once you're happy with the framework, you can replace the dirt with your building blocks. I learned to sketch and do difficult shapes with dirt by watching Good Times with Scar, an absolutely amazing builder and YouTuber to watch for inspiration, entertainment, and to learn from. I highly recommend his channel. Well, now that we know how to make the shapes we want to see, we need to put them together and try to scale them properly. Let's look at a reference image. For example, this jelly bean machine. Let's break this down into its basic shapes. We can see it's made up of a big sphere and a few cylinders. The halfway point seems to be somewhere around here. We decide to make this, say, 31 blocks tall in Minecraft. The halfway point will be 16. From here, we can make a circle that represents the diameter of the circle in the middle. I'm gonna guess here and say about 9 block diameter. We take a step back and look at it, we can see the guess was a little bit small, so we'll make it a bit bigger. Let's try 15 blocks. Yeah, that looks nice. Now we can see our next big shape is the base, which is a good bit wider than our middle. I'm gonna add 3 blocks. But there's 2 sides of the circle, so we need to add 3 blocks twice. 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 15 is 21, and now our base has a diameter of 21, so we'll build the rest of the base. Once that's done, we'll fill in the rest of our cylinder, just to get an idea of where that is. Now, we need to make our sphere. Since the bottom is chopped off and matches up with our center cylinder, we'll start from the top. Now we can play around with different size circle frames to find out what looks best and lines up. Diameter of 19 seemed to work good for me. Once we've decided on our outline, we need to turn it into a sphere. Let's hop onto plots.co.uk and input our 19 block sphere. All we need to do is our last few circles for the ears, and once we have that, we can put in the colors. After the colors, we just plop in some details, and this is the finished product. I think it looks pretty darn good. I recommend practicing your shape building by taking pictures of different objects around the house and breaking them down into basic shapes. Once you know what shapes you need, try framing it out one shape at a time. Play around with size and proportion until everything looks right. Once your shapes are good, replace the dirt with blocks of your choice. I'd love to see any creations along with reference photos that you guys make. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm Bagwetti, and I'll see ya in the next one. Bye-bye!